Yes, hello friends. We are standing here now at a different angle, checking out the shul. As you can see, it was built in a bunch of different parts, but this is the oldest standing synagogue in the world. Although it was only used up until the Black Death in 1349, after which the Jews were annihilated, and although they came back to live, but it wasn't anymore used as a synagogue. It was used for a merchant's house, later on for other uses. But it's still the building that's still standing with its original roof as it was 1,000 years ago. So unlike the Rashi Shul, which was maybe might have been the same time or a little older, but that was destroyed in Kristallnacht. This wasn't destroyed in Kristallnacht, and it stayed intact. Um, Now the first mention of Jews being in Erfurt would be for the 12th century. We find that the king sold the rights for the taxation of the Jews to the Bishop of Mainz. That would be in the 12th century. In 1221, a riot broke out, and some Jews were killed at that time. Among them would be Shmuel ben Klonimus. He was a big chazan and a paitan, and him and his wife were killed in this pogrom. Now, and Erfurt had also a bunch of rabbis that lived here along the time. Among them, interestingly enough, would be the Busha ben Yechiel de Rosh had lived here between 1286 and 1293, before he fled from in 1303 to Toledo. He lived here. Seems that he was still trying to free his teacher, the Maram Rothenberg, and when the Maram Rothenberg passed away, he left. He didn't manage to free him. The Maram Rothenberg didn't let himself be freed. If you watch some of my old videos, you can read them over there. Now, in 1349, it was the Black Death. The Jews were accused of poisoning the wells, just like in other places, and 100 Jews were murdered. Among them was Alexander Hakohen. He was the Baal Sefer Aguddah, a very important work, which is a composition of minhugim and halachis and Jewish customs, Ashkenazi customs, from the centuries before him, and he collected in a work called the Aguddah. It's a very, very important work, and this work is incorporated in the Shulchan Aruch, mainly in the work of the Moshe Isserlish. His brother, who survived the pogrom in 1349, he wrote a special eulogy about his brother Alexandri Hakohen, the Baal Aguddah, which was killed in this pogrom in 1349. Some of the other prominent Rabbanim that lived here was Baruch ben Meir Halevi. His Talmud was called Hillel Me'erfurt, and from the very famous ones they're all famous, but the one that we have a lot of writings from is the Mari Weil. The Bianca Weil, he was a Talmud of the Marilla, and he lived here in the 14th century, in the 15th century. It looks like that he probably left here in 1453 when the Jews were expelled. Now in 1418, the king came to the synagogue. I guess it wasn't here; it was in a different place. And he, by oath, he coerced the Jews to promise how much their wealth is, and that's how he was able to tax them for more. In 1453, the council withdrew the protection of the Jews, and the Jews had to leave Erfurt